I was talking to a friend today about what one of the best first steps towards self healing or awakening or self improvement or just a desire to no longer want to die or not be here is. And what came to me is claiming of your sovereignty, which is something that I have spontaneously taught a bunch of people. It's something that I've been doing for years, and it's something that's sort of stated but not really taught as far as I've seen. So I wanted to make a video to explain what sovereignty is, what claiming your sovereignty means, and how you can work with that in your own field. So your sovereignty itself is the state of divine power over your field. So when you're claiming your sovereignty, you're claiming that you have the the rights and you're the only one with the rights to create for yourself, and you're the only one with the rights to the energy of your field, your personal energy. So that means that you can no longer you're starting to claim that you can no longer be manipulated by outside forces. Other people, places, and things cannot create for you anymore. As human beings on this trajectory of realities, we have given our power away to fill in the blank. Um, and we have allowed all of those outside forces to create for us. And at this stage of awakening, we are claiming our power back. So, claiming your sovereignty, the way that I state it, is just to say, as a divine being of light, I claim my sovereignty now. And then I usually state whatever I do not want in my field, or I state, like if I'm going into a crowd of people, I say I'm not allowing other people's energies to enter into my field. If I'm going to someone specific's house and I know maybe they're in distress, I say that I'm not going to allow their energy to come into my field. You can use this really beneficially with family members, particularly if you're going somewhere for the holidays and you're going to be around a bunch of different family members. Part of the process of being born into a family dynamic gives our power to those people, particularly our parents and our siblings, not necessarily giving them the power, but it opens up the connections for powers of energetics to be shared. So when we start to claim our power back, particularly as adults, our parents should no longer actually be interfering, but we've opened up a bunch of doors. So now we can start to close those doors and send our parents and our generational information, whether that's trauma or just belief systems, back outside of our fields. And we can start to say, okay, what's in my field that I no longer want? So I explain this like you've got your house and now you're wanting to spring clean. You've already got a bunch of shit in your house. It's time to just start taking things out. So you start to claim your sovereignty, and then you kind of feel around in your field for things that are no longer important to you, maybe have never been important to you, and things that maybe you didn't realize were not yours and that you don't have to carry. If it feels heavy, probably not yours. Give it back to wherever it came from. You can state things like, as a sovereign being of light, I'm no longer accepting my mother's energy. I'm no longer accepting this family member's energy. I'm no longer accepting the energies of my coworkers. If you can hear that, that's my roommate playing with a bird and a kid. It's pretty loud. So you just start to close the doors, and what you'll find is that, particularly in a family dynamic with your parents, your siblings, your kids, there are a lot of doors open. So stating, I'm no longer accepting my mother's energy may not be enough. You might have to state that repetitively in different ways or different circumstances. When someone is affecting you energetically, you can feel drained by being near them. That's a good time to state, I'm claiming my sovereignty now, and I'm sending this energy back to that person. And you don't really have to know what the energy is. You can just get a sense for the density of the energy, sort of energetically point it out, and then tell it to leave. You have dominion over your own energetic field. Your energetic field is your body and a few feet around you. You could call that your aura, you could call that your energy field. I don't know, there's some other words for it that I can't think of. But, just think of yourself as being in a nice little bubble, maybe 2 or 3 feet out. It starts off, it could start off feeling all sorts of ways. Don't judge yourself by what you are or are not feeling. When I started claiming my sovereignty, it felt like a cloud around me. It was very sort of staticky. There was a lot of different things inside of it. Now my field feels like a crystal ball around me. It's fairly solid. I can feel an edge to it, and I can tell when something crosses into my field, particularly if it's like a not something related to family, because family energies, we can get so used to it being in our field that we don't realize when it's happening. And you just have to start tuning in more and more to get more and more aware of what you're allowing to happen inside of your energetic field, inside of your space, and just start realizing that you don't have to allow all of that. When you're talking to someone in your family that's upsetting for you, when you're talking to a friend or a coworker, you know, being in states where there's someone who's in charge of us can really make us feel like we don't have power over our own lives. So using anything like that to your benefit, because if something is triggering to you, if something is lowering your frequency, if it feels dense, if it feels heavy, if it feels problematic in any way, that's a really good time to say, okay, this is affecting me. Do I want to allow this to affect me? Do I need to look into why this is affecting me? Or can I just send this energy out of my field? If you're extremely triggered, I would say that you can send the energy out of your field, but you're also going to need to look into what's going on there. But first, I would start with sending energies out of your field. And sometimes there can be an energy that's like an emotion sort of energy that's in your field that you can send out, where it's just like, I feel angry and I don't think it's my anger, or there's just like some anger hanging around me. You can sort of send that kind of energy. Just say, oh, this is not mine, it needs to leave my field. When you get connected to someone, even if you're talking on the phone or even if you're thinking of someone and they're going through something, sometimes there's a door open and that energy can just affect you. So you just need to release it. But if it's truly your emotions that you're experiencing, then you might need to look further into where that's coming from and what you can do about that and how you need to process that. What else? This is a practice that has really shifted my state of being from I cannot be in large crowds because it affects me, all of the energies affect me so much, to I can be in large crowds, not always, but often, regular. Whenever I am in large crowds, I'm not usually affected by very much. And if I find myself in a large crowd and I am being affected, I can take a second to center myself and send all of those energies out of my field that I might have picked up because I was doing something energetically that I no longer need, and I can clear that. So once you've sent something out of your field, if you believe in your guides, I believe that we all have guides who are with us to assist us. I believe in angels and non-physical beings. So whatever kind of energies that you believe in and trust, your fucking dead grandma, I don't care who it is, if you trust it, and even if it's just yourself, I like to use the other beings because they have more of an understanding for what is actually energetically happening around me. So I like to ask my guides to close off whatever doors I have open once I've sent an energy out of my field. So I'll just say, sending that energy out of my field, now please close off those openings. What else? You can also ask your guides or any kind of beings that you do believe in to assist you with clearing out your field. This is like a very basic way to do energy work on yourself where you don't actually have to do anything except claim that it's being done. So you can say, please release anything from my field that I no longer need. And then you can allow those beings who are there to assist you to just like sort of take out the garbage. Because a lot of times when I do energy work on people, there's just like trash. It feels like trash to me floating around in their fields, and it's thoughts that they've had about exes or, you know, irritating people at work or the news or whatever. And it's just kind of like flickering around in your field because we are not in a practice as human beings of sort of like clearing our cache or deleting our trash can, and that stuff just kind of floats around in your field. But if it's floating around in your field, then it has an attraction quality to it, and it is pulling more things like it to it, even if that's on a small level. And then, you know, that irritating conversation that you had about someone while you were driving yesterday is still affecting you 3 weeks from now, sort of issues. So you can use it sort of like an energetic bath to say, in the morning or at night before you go to bed is a good time to do it. I'm clearing my field of anything that I no longer need, and asking for whatever beings you believe in. If you want to be assisted by them, asking them to assist you with that clearing. And then you can do things like filling up your field with white light or gold light or any color light, and that's just to assist in shifting the frequency inside of your field. So if you're holding a light like that, you're holding a frequency, and then you can say like, I want to release anything that's not of this frequency where I'm sitting at now. And then as you move through your day, you'll pick things up again. That's super normal and should happen as we're going throughout our days. But you can really get in tune with what's going on inside of your field so that you know when something is yours and when something is someone else's, particularly if you're very empathic and you're exhausted all the time because you're interacting with other human beings and you haven't figured out that you don't have to take on their emotions as your own. You start saying, oh, all of this shit isn't mine. Actually, I'm not fucking depressed. I'm perfectly fine, but I've been holding the depression of these people in my life for 30 years. So you can just like give that shit back to people. Or if that makes you really uncomfortable because you're afraid that giving it back to someone is going to somehow make it worse for them, you can say, I would like to transmute this energy, as opposed to, oh, that's yours, I'm sending it back. You're not ever really sending it back to someone. You're just not recreating it in your field. So you can consider it deleting it or transmuting it, or you can ask your helpers, guides, team of angels, whatever, to, I want to say a different word than transmute, but it's not coming to me, to transmute the energy. Transmuting it just means that you're neutralizing it. You're just taking it from having a negative charge to a neutral charge, because everything in the universe is neutral. We decide positive or negative, good and bad. So just because it's in your field doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. You can also send the energy down into the earth, whether you perceive it as good or bad. The earth is going to neutralize the energy and use it for her benefit. So that's something that the earth is there to do, and it's also a really good addition to the practice because that will help you to ground your energy. And then if you just want to go a tiny bit deeper with that, taking deep breaths while you're doing it is super fucking powerful. Way super fucking powerful. There's a reason that everyone talks about breathing and how important it is. Breathing in is breathing in new life. Breathing out is releasing all that you no longer need. Every single time you do it, the deeper the breath, the deeper the cleansing is. You can breathe in through these portals that we have in our physical form that we call chakras. Those are fucking portals of energy. Your heart space will cleanse and clear all of the negative energy that you're feeling in your body. So breathing in through your heart And that just means that as you're taking a breath through your mouth, you're actually feeling that breath come into your heart space and then releasing it out from your heart space, or any of your chakras. If you're feeling pain somewhere, using that chakra center to open it up and release whatever kind of gunk might be bothering you. You can also just sort of like kind of grab at energy and release it from your field. You can play with these sorts of things. If you're already doing some sort of energy work, doing something like this is really beneficial. And I know it kind of looks silly or whatever, but you're actually telling this physical reality that you're making a change by doing something like that. Energetically, things are happening that you can't see, and you're pulling out energy in like a creation phase of this is a physical reality. So physical action is how we tell our reality that we're doing something. That's not always necessary, but it can be helpful if that rings true for you. Or you can, wipe things off of you energetically. I do that sometimes if I like standing next to someone in a line and I'll be like, oh, ew, like take it back. I feel like that works. Anything else? Claiming your sovereignty is a good thing to do and like clearing out your field is a good thing to do if you don't have something like sage or Palo Santo or whatever available to you. You just tell energies to leave. You don't actually have to sage them. You can claim that they're not allowed to be there. It's your reality. It's your universe. Play with it. See how you feel. Play with it often. The more often you do these things, the more you're retraining and reprogramming your mind. All it takes is once to claim your sovereign field, but then you're gonna, so old me has never claimed her sovereign field, new me has. I'm gonna hop into this new reality where I've claimed my sovereign field and I'm there for the moment, but I'm gonna forget about that because my mind is doing all kinds of things. I'm just gonna sort of hop back over here to this reality where I've totally forgotten that I can claim my sovereignty and that I am a sovereign being. So the more you do it, the more you're bouncing yourself back over here to this field where you're claiming your sovereignty. And actually, you're never hopping back to the same old reality. You're always hopping to a new reality because the old reality it's gone. That's a different now moment because you never claimed your sovereignty in that reality. If you've already claimed your sovereignty once and sent anyone's energy out of your field, then you're in a new reality where that energy is not in your field, but now you've still forgotten that you can claim your sovereignty and that you are a powerful fucking being of light. So you're going to continuously hop back and forth for a while. So restating that you're claiming your sovereignty and restating that you have the ability and power is to retrain your mind, that you can do that so that you're really grounding all of that energy into this new reality that you're now sitting in. And that's another way that taking a physical action, like stating it. So I would suggest stating it out loud, but you don't have to do that every time. It's not something that you have to do like when you're standing next to your mom and she's pissing you off, like, claim my sovereign field, get the fuck out. Yeah, I wouldn't, teach their own. If that would make me chuckle. But I wouldn't do that necessarily. It would be less effective because then she's going to send you more energy that you're going to have to send out. But stating things out loud is a really good way to use that action phase of manifestation that the physical reality requires. As a divine being of light, I claim my sovereignty now. I release all that no longer serves me. run along.